Emotional case. Grandmother loses custody of granddaughter after child surprising revelation. Hello. You are very welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Martha was in her garden, the morning sun filtering through the leaves of the trees, creating a dance of light and shadow over the flowers her son had planted. The vibrant colors of the petals contrasted with the grayness in her heart, which still carried the pain of loss. With her hands dirty from the soil, she caressed the flowers as if trying to feel his presence through them. It was a ritual, a sacred moment in which she felt closer to her son. "You always loved these flowers, didn't you, dear?" she whispered, a thread of sadness in her voice. The gentle breeze seemed to respond, making the leaves sway softly. As Martha lost herself in her memories, the tranquility of the garden was interrupted by a soft laugh. It was Lily, her 5-year-old granddaughter, approaching with a drawing in her hands. Her eyes sparkled as if they carried the light of the sun. "Grandma, look," the girl said, extending the paper with a shy smile. "I made this for Grandpa." Martha looked at the drawing, which depicted a family holding hands under a big yellow sun, an innocent representation full of love. Martha's heart tightened. "It's beautiful, my dear," she replied, her voice choked. "Your grandpa would love it." Lily climbed onto the garden bench where Martha was sitting and snuggled next to her. "Do you think he's watching us from heaven?" the girl asked, with a seriousness that only children can have. "I'm sure he is," Martha said, wrapping her granddaughter in a tight embrace. "He's always with us, in our hearts." The moment of tenderness was like a balm for Martha's soul, a pause in the emotional storm that was approaching. But that peace was quickly interrupted by an insistent buzz from Martha's cell phone. She pulled away slightly from Lily and answered, her expression shifting from soft to tense in seconds. It was Lily's father's attorney, Mark. "Martha, we need to talk," he said, his voice grave and formal. "Mark is claiming custody of Lily." The words weighed on Martha's shoulders like an anchor, making her feel as if she were sinking. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "He believes he can give her a better life. He's ready for a legal battle," the attorney continued, showing no compassion. "We need to prepare." Martha hung up the phone with a knot in her stomach, the reality of her situation beginning to settle in. The idea of losing Lily was unbearable. She looked at her granddaughter, who was coloring the drawing she had just made, unaware of the turmoil forming around her. "Lily," Martha called, trying to keep her voice steady. "Are you happy here, aren't you?" "Yes, Grandma," Lily replied, not lifting her eyes from the paper. "I like being with you and playing in the garden." Martha felt a wave of love and sadness at the same time. "And you know that I love you very much, don't you?" "I love you too, Grandma," Lily said, finally looking up and smiling. But that smile couldn't dissipate the shadow that settled in Martha's heart. She knew that the fight was just beginning, and the thought of her granddaughter being taken away from her terrified her. With a deep sigh, Martha decided she needed to be strong. "Let's make another drawing together. How about that?" she suggested, trying to keep the atmosphere light. Lily nodded eagerly, and the two began to draw, but Martha's mind was distant, struggling against the tide of emotions that threatened to drag her down. Each stroke on the paper was a silent plea for everything to be okay, for the love that bound grandmother and granddaughter to prevail over any adversity that lay ahead. Martha sat at the kitchen table, the warm cup of tea cradled in her trembling hands. The comforting aroma filled the space, but it couldn't warm the chill that had settled in her heart. The walls of the house seemed to echo memories of the past, each corner carrying the presence of her son, who was now so far away. Lily's drawing, with its vibrant colors, was propped against the refrigerator, a reminder of the innocence that still pulsed in the girl's life. But the shadow of Lily's father loomed over them, like a storm about to break. "How do you feel, Grandma?" Lily's sweet voice broke through Martha's dark thoughts. The girl appeared in a flowery dress that swirled gently around her, bringing a bit of light to the atmosphere. Martha smiled, trying to hide the worry that plagued her. I'm fine, dia. Just thinking about a few things. Are you thinking about Grandpa? Lily asked, her eyes shining with curiosity. Yes, a little. He always loved the flowers here in the garden, didn't he? Martha glanced out the window, where the flowers her son had planted continued to bloom, defying the pain of absence. I love the flowers too, Lily exclaimed, running to the window to look. Can I help you take care of them tomorrow? Of course, my love. That would be wonderful. Martha made an effort to smile, but the anxiety still consumed her. With a deep sigh, she decided she needed comfort and perhaps a plan. After a brief moment of tranquility, the phone rang, breaking the serenity of the morning. Martha's heart raced. She knew the news wasn't good. Answering the call, the voice of Mark's attorney sounded cold and direct. Martha, Lily's father, is claiming custody. He wants the girl to stay with him. The words hit her like a punch to the stomach. The line fell silent for a moment as Martha tried to process what she had just heard. What do you mean by that? He can't do that. He is determined, and the situation may be complicated. I suggest you find a lawyer immediately. The fight will be difficult. The call ended, and Martha felt a deep void. How could she let Lily go? Desperate for guidance, Martha decided to seek a lawyer. The meeting with Tom was scheduled for the next day. When she arrived at the office, tension enveloped her, but Tom greeted her with an understanding look. He was a middle-aged man with gray hair and a calm demeanor that conveyed reassurance. Please have a seat, Martha. I'm here to help. He gestured to the chair across from him as she settled in, trying not to appear too fragile. I don't know what to do, Tom. Lily's father. He's a real threat. I can't lose my granddaughter. Tears began to slip down Martha's face, the pain and fear intertwining. Tom listened attentively, allowing her to vent. I understand your concern, but we need to analyze the situation rationally. Did you know that Mark has a troubled past? He has dealt with addiction issues and even went through rehabilitation. I knew he had his difficulties, but I never thought that it would affect Lily's custody. Martha felt confused. Can this be used against him? Yes, and this could be a line of defense. But we have to be careful not to expose Lily to more pain. This is a delicate decision. Tom explained, looking in her eyes with empathy. I just want to do what's best for her. But I don't know if exposing Mark's past is the solution. Martha felt a lump in her throat. I don't want her to suffer more than she already has. Tom nodded, understanding the complexity of the situation. It's a fine line, Martha. We need to consider all options. But above all, you need to be ready to fight for yourself and for Lily. This battle may be the hardest of your life, and I will be by your side. Tom's words resonated in Martha's mind like a call to action. She knew she needed to strengthen herself, not just for her own sake, but for Lily's. As she looked out the office window, thinking of the girl she loved so much, she decided that she couldn't let the past paralyze her. It was time to seek justice, even if it meant facing her own demons. Martha walked into the courtroom with a racing heart, feeling the weight of anxiety pulsing through her veins. The space was austere, with bare walls and wooden chairs that seemed uncomfortable. The smell of formality and tension hung in the air, and she couldn't help but feel small in the face of this monumental struggle. Looking to the side, she saw Mark, Lily's father, watching her with a disdainful smile, as if savoring her anguish. He can't do this, Martha thought, trying to stay strong. But his presence was like a threatening shadow, and the image of her granddaughter, Lily, by her side reminded her that everything was at stake. The girl, in her floral dress, was restless, nervously swinging her feet. Martha held her hand, wishing to transmit some of her strength. I'm here with you, darling, she murmured, looking into the innocent eyes of the girl. The hearing began, and Martha sat up straight, trying to ignore Mark's cold gaze. The judge, with his impassive expression, started asking questions. Each word felt like a blow, each answer a new wound. Martha felt like she was in a complicated maze, unsure of which path to take. Around her, the voices of the lawyers mixed together, but the only one that truly mattered was Lily's, who was distressed. "Grandma, I'm scared," the girl whispered, looking at Martha with wide, worried eyes. "I'm here, my sweet. Don't worry, everything will be okay," Martha replied, trying to sound confident, but feeling increasingly lost. During the hearing, Mark began to present his narrative. He brought witnesses who spoke about the difficulties Martha faced in the past, as if that could delegitimize her role as grandmother and guardian. Each witness was a low blow, a new facet of the pain she thought she had overcome. Martha felt a wave of despair wash over her, as Mark's words echoed in her mind. "She is not fit to care for the child," one of the witnesses said. "That's not true." Martha wanted to scream, but the words got stuck in her throat. The room was filled with judging eyes, and she didn't want to expose Lily to more pain. After the hearing, Martha and Tom left the room together, the weight of tension still hanging in the air. He looked at her with concern. "Martha, you need to prepare for what's to come. Mark's past can be a powerful weapon, but we need to use it to our advantage. You can be stronger than he is." "I know, Tom, but what if it causes Lily more pain? I don't want her to feel all of this. What if she wants to stay with him?" Martha was anguished, her words spilling out in a whirlwind of emotions. "She may be confused right now, but you need to show her that you are the best for her. The love you have is stronger than anything Mark can offer," Tom said, trying to calm her. Martha looked at him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I just want to protect her. I want her to know that, despite everything, she is loved." "And you are doing that, Martha. But we need a strategy. What do you think about talking about Mark's past? We can present it in a way that shows he is not the best choice for Lily," Tom suggested, his gaze intense. Martha hesitated. The idea of talking about Mark's past troubled her. But on the other hand, she knew she needed to do what was necessary to protect Lily. "All right, let's do it. But I don't want this to become a personal attack. I just want the truth to come to light." "Understood. Let's prepare for the next hearing and ensure that you and Lily are ready," Tom replied, his determination visible. As they walked together out of the courthouse, Martha felt a mix of hope and fear. The path ahead would be difficult, but she was determined to fight. For Lily, and for the love that still bound them. Martha sat in one of the chairs of the support group for grandparents, nervous but resolute. The environment was welcoming, with walls painted in soft colors and photographs of happy families adorning the space. The smell of fresh coffee blended with the aroma of homemade cookies that someone had brought. She looked around, noticing the expressions of concern and sadness on the faces of the other grandparents. Each one carried their own stories, and the room was filled with pain and hope. As the group began to introduce themselves, Martha felt a lump in her throat hearing the stories of other grandmothers. One of them, Clara, an older woman with gray hair and tired eyes, shared her struggle for custody of her grandson. "I didn't know it could be so difficult. My son had drug problems, and the judge decided the boy should stay with his mother, who is not capable of taking care of him," Clara said, her voice choked with emotion. "I just wanted to give him a safe home, but the system doesn't seem to care." Clara's words echoed in Martha's mind, and she soon remembered Mark, Lily's father. What if his story repeats itself, she thought. The fear of losing Lily consumed her, but the pain of losing her son was even more intense. She wanted to be a strong grandmother, but the fragility of the situation left her at the mercy of her emotions. After a while, it was Martha's turn to share her story. With a trembling voice, she began, "Hello, my name is Martha, and I am the grandmother of a beautiful girl named Lily. I recently lost my son in an accident, and now I am fighting for custody of my granddaughter. Her father, who is also my son, is no longer present, and I am afraid she will be taken away from me." The other grandparents listened to her attentively, and Clara leaned forward, looking into Martha's eyes. "You are not alone, dear. We all feel the pain of loss, and it's natural to want to protect those we love. The fight for custody can be cruel, but you have to show the judge that you are the best option for your granddaughter. Martha nodded, grateful for the support. I just want Lily to have a safe and loving home. But I feel like, with each passing day, I'm losing a little bit more of her. The group continued to discuss their experiences, and in a moment of vulnerability, another grandmother, Anna, spoke about her own battle. I lost my grandson to the system because I couldn't prove that I could take care of him. The judge seemed more interested in following the rules than in listening to the truth. What I learned is that we grandmothers have to be our own advocates. If you love that girl, fight for her. Martha felt Anna's words resonate deeply in her heart. She took a sip of tea, trying to calm the storm of emotions overwhelming her. I promised myself that I will do everything I can to fight for Lily, even if it means facing the shadows of the past that haunt me, she said, determination beginning to form in her voice. The group applauded, and Clara encouraged her. You have a strength you don't even realize. Sometimes, we need to face our own demons to protect those we love. Don't give up, Martha. Thank you, she replied, feeling a little stronger. I just want her to know that she is loved. My son always told me that family is everything, and I want Lily to feel that, no matter what happens. As the meeting came to an end, Martha felt grateful for sharing her pain and receiving support. As she left the group, a new hope began to blossom within her. She knew that the fight for Lily's custody would be difficult, but she was willing to face any challenge. With her heart a little lighter, she walked home, determined to fight for her granddaughter and keep her son's memory alive. The sun shone brightly in the blue sky, illuminating the park where Martha and Lily were. The laughter of children echoed around them, and the smell of freshly cut grass brought a breath of freshness to the air. Martha watched her granddaughter play on the slide, an involuntary smile appearing on her face. It was one of those simple moments that brought deep joy, a reminder that life continued to pulse, even amidst the pain. Come on, Grandma, look how fast I can slide, Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. With a push, she slid down and ran towards Martha, her brown hair fluttering in the wind. You're a real athlete, my little one, Martha replied, pride in her voice. But be careful not to fall. Lily laughed and struck an exaggerated pose, as if she were a superhero. I'm Super Lily. No one can take me down. The grandmother couldn't help but laugh, feeling warmed by her granddaughter's indomitable spirit. After some rounds around the park, while the two sat on a wooden bench, Lily looked to the horizon, her smile fading. Grandma, do you think Dad is thinking about me? The question, though simple, cut Martha's heart like a sharp knife. Martha swallowed hard, struggling to keep her voice steady. I'm sure he thinks about you, Lily. He loves you very much. The grandmother wanted the girl to feel secure, but she also knew that the truth was more complicated than that. But why doesn't he come to visit us? I miss him, Lily murmured, lowering her head and nervously fiddling with the hem of her dress. Martha felt the weight of her granddaughter's vulnerability. How could she explain the complexity of the situation without breaking her heart even more? Sometimes things don't happen the way we want, but you can always count on me, Lily. I'm here for you, Martha said, wrapping the girl in a tight embrace. The feeling of warmth seemed to comfort Lily, who nestled her head on her grandmother's shoulder. Grandma, are you going to let me stay with Dad? The question came out as a whisper, but made Martha's chest tighten. The grandmother pulled back slightly, looking into her granddaughter's eyes, searching for the courage to respond. Sweetheart, Martha hesitated, knowing that the answer wouldn't be easy. Her love for Lily was unconditional, but the idea of losing her granddaughter to her father, Mark, consumed her with anxiety. I want you to always be safe and happy. That's what matters most to me. But what if I want to stay with him? I don't want you to be sad, Grandma, Lily said, her eyes welling with tears. The innocence of the girl was a burden that Martha didn't know how to bear. Lily, you're a very special girl. You can love your dad and love me too. You don't have to choose one or the other. Love is like that. It can grow and multiply. Martha spoke tenderly, but her voice trembled a bit, revealing the fragility of her own emotions. At that moment, Tom, the lawyer who was becoming a frequent presence in Martha's life, approached. He had been watching the interaction from a distance, recognizing the tension in the air. "Hi, girls. Are you having fun?" Tom asked, trying to bring a little lightness. "We are, but Lily was just telling me that she misses her dad," Martha replied, looking at the lawyer, who immediately understood the gravity of the situation. "Ah, Lily, you have such a big heart. It's normal to miss someone we love," Tom said, kneeling to be at the girl's height. "But remember, you have many people who love you here too, including your grandma." Lily smiled a little, but there was still a shadow of concern on her face. "I just want everyone to be happy. And we all want you to be happy, Lily. How about we do something fun to distract you?" Tom suggested, making a playful expression. "What about a competition to see who can tell the best jokes?" Lily's face lit up again. "Yes, but you're going to lose, Tom. I'm the queen of jokes. Challenge accepted," Tom replied, while Martha felt a little relieved. There, under the sun in the park, even amidst uncertainties, there was a thread of hope weaving between them. And that was what she needed: love and support, even in the darkest hours. Martha sat in an old armchair in her living room, surrounded by an aura of nostalgia and sadness. The walls were adorned with framed photos capturing happy moments of her life, each image a reminder of the son she had lost. With trembling hands, she leafed through a worn-out album, its yellowed pages telling the story of a united family. As she ran her fingers over the picture of her son, a sad smile bloomed on her lips, but it was soon overshadowed by a wave of pain that washed over her. It was a constant reminder that life went on, but his absence left an irreparable void. As her tears flowed, Martha found a carefully folded letter between the pages of the album. It was an old correspondence, handwritten, that her son had sent when he was away. With her heart racing, she opened it. The words, filled with love and hope, spoke about the importance of family and mutual support. "Mom, never forget that we are together, no matter the distance," one passage said. Reading it enveloped her in a wave of courage. He always encouraged her to fight for what was right. With a deep sigh, Martha decided that she could not give up on Lily. The next day, during a new hearing, tension hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Mark, Lily's father, was there again, and his presence made Martha's stomach churn. He had an arrogant way about him, and his disdainful smile seemed to provoke her. Martha, with her heart racing uncontrollably, struggled to maintain her composure. Beside her, Tom, her lawyer, noticed her restlessness and encouraged her with a firm look. "Are you ready, Martha?" Tom asked, gently placing his hand on her shoulder. "Remember what you read. Your son always believed you were strong." "I know, Tom. It's just that it's so hard. He's trying to destabilize me," Martha replied, her voice choked. "What if it affects Lily? What if she decides she wants to stay with him?" Tom shook his head, understanding the weight that decision carried. "You are not alone in this. We are fighting for her, and together we will find a way to show the court what really matters: the love you have for Lily." As the hearing progressed, Mark began to present witnesses who spoke about the difficulties Martha had faced in the past. Each word felt like a knife, cutting deeper into her confidence. Martha shrank in her seat, the pain of the past resurfacing with strength. She tried to focus on Tom's words, but the feeling of powerlessness engulfed her. "I can't let this happen, Tom," Martha said, her voice barely a whisper. "I can't allow them to believe I'm a bad grandmother because of mistakes I made years ago." Tom, sensing her vulnerability, leaned in closer. "Martha, you're not the same person you were before. You've grown, learned, and above all, you love Lily more than anything. That is what really matters." She took a deep breath, seeking strength in his words. It was true. The love she felt for Lily was a force that propelled her to move forward, to fight for her granddaughter, even if it meant facing her own demons. Looking at Mark's witnesses, she remembered what her son had written. Family is everything. And Lily was her family now. With that renewed determination, Martha prepared for what was to come. She knew the battle was far from over, but now she had an even stronger reason to fight. She decided that not only would she defend her right to be Lily's guardian, but she would also allow herself to confront the past, not as a weakness, but as a testament to her resilience. The fight was just beginning, and she was ready to face any challenge that lay ahead. Martha and Tom were sitting in a small cafe, the aroma of fresh coffee and homemade cakes enveloping the space in a warm embrace. The walls were adorned with old photos of happy families, and the soft sunlight filtered through the window, creating a cozy effect. However, the atmosphere between them was one of palpable tension, as if each carried the weight of their own pains and fears. Tom looked at Martha, his eyes reflecting a mix of empathy and understanding. "You know, Martha," he began, his voice soft and hesitant, "I understand what you're going through. Losing someone we love is like losing a part of ourselves." He leaned forward, trying to convey the sincerity of his words. "I lost my sister a few months ago. She meant everything to me." Martha watched him, her eyes shining with a mix of sadness and gratitude. "I'm sorry for your loss, Tom. It's so hard to deal with pain while fighting for something so important." She sighed, the memory of her son flooding her with waves of nostalgia. "I feel like every day I'm losing more than just a battle. I'm losing my connection with my granddaughter." Tom nodded, feeling the anguish in her words. "It's understandable. The custody battle is emotionally draining, and what you're going through is even more complicated with the recent loss of your son. I can't imagine how it must feel to see your granddaughter caught in the middle of all this." "I just want her to be safe and happy," Martha confessed, her voice trembling. "But I don't want her to think I'm trying to keep her away from her father. I know she misses him, and that hurts me. Sometimes, I wonder if it would be easier to let her go." "Don't think that way, Martha," Tom replied, his passion in his voice growing. "You're fighting for her because you love her, and that's what matters. You're doing what any grandmother would do. And don't forget, you also have the right to protect yourself and your granddaughter from an environment that could be harmful." She looked at him, her heart warming at his words. "I'm afraid of exposing Mark's past. He may not be a good father, but I never wanted Lily to know that. I don't want her to feel like she has to choose between us. What happens between us adults shouldn't affect her." Tom took a deep breath, realizing the deep empathy Martha had not only for her own pain, but also for Lily's. "You're not exposing her, Martha. You're ensuring she has a safe future. Mark may have his qualities, but if he isn't the right person to care for her, you need to use that to your advantage." He hesitated for a moment. "Sometimes, the truth can be painful, but it's necessary." "And if it hurts her?" Martha asked, her eyes filled with tears. "What if she can't handle it? I just want to protect her." "Protecting also means telling the truth," Tom insisted, his voice firm. "And as difficult as it is, you need to be her voice. True love is the one that sacrifices, that seeks the well-being of the other, even if it means facing pain." Martha felt the pressure in her heart increase, but also a spark of determination. "I can't let my son's past define my granddaughter's life. I need to be strong, not just for myself, but for Lily." She looked into Tom's eyes, seeking support. "And you? How do you deal with your loss?" He hesitated for a moment, his expression turning more serious. "I'm still learning to cope with it. Some nights are harder than others. The pain doesn't go away, but I've learned that it's important to share it with someone. Loneliness only makes it worse." "You're not alone," Martha whispered, gently touching his hand. "Together in this, even if our struggles are different." Tom smiled, a deep connection forming between them. "Yes, we are. And together, we can fight for what is right, for what is best for Lily." As they left the cafe, a sense of hope and solidarity enveloped Martha. She knew that the custody battle would be tough, but now she had someone by her side, someone who understood the pain and the struggle. And, above all, someone who believed that true love could overcome any obstacle. Martha was sitting in the living room, her heart heavy and her mind confused. Mark's words still echoed in her mind, a mix of pain and anger. He had revealed secrets she had kept locked away, trying to manipulate her, attacking not only her reputation, but also the legacy of her son. The anguish consumed her, and she felt as if she were on the edge of an emotional abyss. It was at that moment that Lily entered the room, her face lit up by an innocent smile. With a drawing in her hands, the little girl approached her grandmother. "Look, Grandma, I made this for you." The colorful piece of paper depicted a scene of a radiant sun and vibrant flowers, a reflection of what the child loved. It was the kind of art that warmed the heart, but at that moment, Martha could barely smile. "It's beautiful, dear," she said, forcing a smile as tears threatened to slip down her face. "You have an incredible talent." However, Lily noticed that something wasn't right. The joy that always shone in Martha's eyes seemed to have dimmed, and the little girl furrowed her brow, concerned. "Grandma, are you sad?" Lily asked, the innocence in her voice cutting even deeper into Martha's heart. "No, my flower. It's just that I'm thinking about some things," Martha replied, trying to hide the pain that consumed her. But the truth was that she felt lost, and she didn't know how to explain it to her granddaughter. Lily came closer, wrapping her arms around Martha's waist. "I like it when we're together." "You make me feel better," said the little girl, looking up with her big, bright eyes. It was a simple yet powerful statement, and Martha felt the weight of her emotions as she heard those words. "I also love being with you, Lily," Martha replied, her voice thick with emotion. "You are the reason I fight." But as she spoke, a shadow of doubt crossed her mind. Was she doing the right thing? Was she truly protecting her granddaughter, or merely trying to satisfy her own desire to keep the family together? "Why are you fighting, Grandma?" Lily asked, confused. "Daddy said he can keep me." Martha hesitated. What should she say? "Sometimes people do things that aren't good, and that's why I want to protect you. I want you to be safe and to know that you are loved." "But I love Daddy too," Lily replied, her voice soft. "And I miss him." The little girl's words hit Martha like a punch to the stomach. She knew that Lily had the right to love her father, but it made everything even more complicated. "I understand, dear," Martha replied, trying to remain calm. "It's normal to miss the people we love. But there are things you don't know about him yet." "Like what?" Lily asked, curious. Martha took a deep breath, struggling to find the right words. "Sometimes people have problems that make them different from what they seem. And I just want you to be happy and safe. You know, Grandma, I like being here with you." "You make me feel good," said Lily, and Martha's heart ached to hear that. In that moment, she realized that no matter what Mark said, the love they shared was stronger than any secret or troubled past. "I will always be here for you, Lily," Martha promised, her voice firm. "Nothing can change that." Martha hugged her, feeling the warmth and innocence of the child. And in that moment, despite the storm approaching, she knew that the connection she had with Lily was what truly mattered. The custody battle could be fierce, but the love they shared was an unbreakable bond. And as long as she was by her granddaughter's side, Martha was willing to face any challenge that lay ahead. Martha was sitting in the waiting room of the courthouse, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. The atmosphere was oppressive, with gray walls and palpable tension in the air. As she watched other cases being called, her attention turned to Lily, who was sitting beside her. The little girl nervously played with the ends of her dress, her big, worried eyes reflecting the uncertainty of the situation. Martha could feel the anxiety pulsing between them, like an invisible thread connecting them amid the chaos. "Grandma, I can't stop thinking about what's going to happen." Lily finally broke the silence, her voice trembling. Martha looked at her granddaughter, her heart aching. She knew the little girl was feeling the weight of the custody battle, but she didn't want to burden her any further. "I know, dear," Martha replied, gently stroking Lily's hair. "But remember, we're in this together. The love we have for each other is stronger than any court." Lily forced a smile, but Martha could see the worry in the girl's eyes. "What if Daddy wins? What if he takes me away?" Lily's words cut through Martha's heart like a sharp knife. "I won't let that happen. I promise. I'll do whatever it takes to keep you with me," she said, more to convince herself than to reassure the girl. But the truth was that as time passed, Martha also felt lost. That morning, as they prepared for the hearing, she noticed that Lily's anxiety was turning into despair. The anticipation and fear were building up inside the little girl, and Martha knew she needed to do something to relieve that pressure. "I have an idea," Martha said, looking at Tom, who was beside her, reviewing legal documents with a concentrated expression. "What do you think about taking Lily for a little outing before the hearing? Some fresh air might help." Tom looked up surprised. "That might be a good idea, yes. But we need to make sure she's ready for what comes next." With Tom's approval, Martha turned to Lily. "How about a trip to the park? We can see the ducklings at the pond and have some ice cream." Lily's eyes brightened for a moment, and she began to nod her head. "I like ducklings. And strawberry ice cream." Martha smiled, relieved to see a bit of light return to the girl's face. "Then let's go, dear. A little fun before we face this battle." A few minutes later, the three of them left the courthouse and headed to the nearby park. The fresh air and sunlight provided a welcome break from the tension in the courtroom. As they walked, Martha and Tom tried to make Lily laugh by sharing funny stories about embarrassing situations that had happened in their lives. "Once, I tried to bake a birthday cake for my sister and ended up putting salt instead of sugar. The cake was so salty that no one could eat it," Tom shared, laughing at his own mishap. Lily giggled, and the tension that had previously hung over her seemed to be slowly dissipating. But as they walked, the girl suddenly stopped, her expression of joy transforming back into worry. "Grandma, I miss Daddy," Lily said, her voice small and hesitant. The words hit Martha like a stone in the chest, and she immediately turned to her granddaughter, her heart aching. "I know, my love, and I miss your dad too," Martha said, trying to keep her voice steady. "But we need to remember that what matters now is that you are safe and surrounded by love." "But what if I want to be with him?" Lily asked, the sincerity in her voice making her feel even more vulnerable. "Sometimes, I wonder if he will take me home." Martha felt a wave of pain and fear spread through her body. "Lily, you can love your dad and still be safe here with me. What matters is that you feel loved and protected. And that's how I want you to feel." The conversation grew heavy, but Tom, sensing the tension in the air, intervened with a new story, trying to distract the girl. "Did you know that once I did a magic trick and ended up making the rabbit disappear? But actually it was just hiding behind me." Lily, still thoughtful, began to laugh, and Martha realized that while the future was uncertain, the love they shared was unshakable. The walk in the park had brought a bit of lightness, but the battle was far from over. The atmosphere in the courtroom was heavy, laden with tension and expectation. Martha, standing before the judge, felt her heart race. The judge's austere and attentive gaze made her feel small, almost invisible among those watching her. She took a deep breath, trying to gather the courage to speak, but the words felt stuck in her throat. Beside her, Tom encouraged her with a subtle gesture, a nod that conveyed support and understanding. She could feel Mark's presence on the other side of the room, his mocking smile almost taunting, as if he were waiting for her to fail. Lily, sitting in a chair near her, looked nervous, her fingers intertwined in her lap, her big eyes filled with concern. Martha knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but also for the granddaughter she loved so dearly. "Your Honor," Martha began, her voice a bit shaky but firm. I would like to speak about the true nature of what's happening here." She looked out at the audience, especially at Mark, who was watching her with a disdainful look. I am here for Lily, not for myself. I want her to know that, no matter what happened, the love I feel for her is unconditional. Mark interrupted, his tone sarcastic. And what do you know about love, Martha? You lost your son, and now you want to be the mother of my daughter? You're nothing more than a desperate grandmother. Martha felt a surge of anger and pain, but forced herself to stay calm. She looked at Tom, who gently squeezed her arm, encouraging her to continue. I know I'm not perfect, Mark, but what you don't know is that behind your facade of a loving father, there is a man with a dark past. I know this, and Lily needs to know it too. A murmur swept through the room. The tension escalated, and all eyes were fixed on Martha. Your past is not just a part of your story, Mark. It shaped you, and it affects Lily's life. You can't simply ignore it and expect everyone to believe you're the ideal father. Mark stood up, indignant. You can't do this. You're trying to defame me. I'm a man who has redeemed himself. Redeem? Martha replied, her tone now more assertive. You may have changed your life, but what you did in the past doesn't just disappear. You had addictions, involvement with dangerous people. This has a direct impact on Lily's life, and I cannot allow her to be exposed to that. The room fell into absolute silence as Martha's words echoed. She looked at Lily, who now seemed confused but also attentive. Lily, Martha said, her voice softer, I need you to know that true love is not measured by words, but by actions. And I will always be here for you, no matter what happens. At that moment, something changed in Lily's expression. She raised her hand, interrupting the tension that hung in the air. I don't want to go with Daddy, the girl said, her voice small but firm. I miss him, but I love Grandma. She loves me for real. The room was in shock. Lily's heartfelt words cut like a knife, revealing the depth of love that existed between grandmother and granddaughter. Martha felt a wave of relief and pride. She knew that that little declaration was everything she needed to strengthen her argument. Mark, on the other hand, was stunned. Lily, you don't know what you're saying. I am your father. You need me. But the girl shook her head. I know you are my father, but you are not the person I want around me. I want Grandma. She has always been with me, even when you weren't. The judge, observing the scene attentively, couldn't help but notice the genuine connection between Martha and Lily. The truth was there, raw and exposed for all to see. Martha felt that, despite all the pain and challenges, the love she shared with her granddaughter was what truly mattered. And in that moment, she knew that regardless of what happened, they would always have each other. I sincerely hope that you were enchanted by this story. I'm sure the next video that appears to you will also touch your heart. So, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our next stories. A big hug, and see you next time.